The UU World Cup has started and the first game is between India and US Midwest. And it's going to be a really exciting game, and the metagame they're playing is ORAS UU, that is Generation 6 UU. And it's a metagame filled with bulky waters, Aerodactyl, Celebi. It's going to be a really good game. And what you first notice is that Expulso has a Snorlax. And Snorlax is an interesting Pokemon that got a lot better after Conkeldurr got banned. But you notice that Joris' team does not match up well against Snorlax. And Snorlax typically runs a set with Rest Talk, with Curse. And Curse is going to be a really powerful boosting move. So if we just look at the matchup one by one, Suicune loses to Snorlax 1v1. Aerodactyl loses to Snorlax 1v1 because of Curse. Empoleon loses 1v1. Nidoqueen loses 1v1 and just doesn't do enough damage. Florges loses 1v1. Celebi is the only thing that has a chance versus Snorlax because of Nasty Plot plus Giga Drain. So it's going to be a really uphill battle to defeat that Snorlax. But if he can do that, if he can beat that Snorlax, he's in a good position because Aerodactyl is going to be really dominating this game because of its coverage of Aerial Ace and Stone Edge and Earthquake. For Joris, the game is going to be about two things. One, can he disarm that Snorlax? And two, can he get that Aerodactyl into winning positions? Can he get it into attacking positions where he can cause damage? Those are the two main things for Joris to be able to win this game. And it is going to be an uphill task because Snorlax is just so bulky. It's so specially defensive, and all of Joris' attackers are special attackers. And that is going to be a real problem. And we'll be able to see if he can actually overcome that or not. And how does he do it, if he can. So we start off the matchup and Joris leads with Nidoqueen, Expulso leads with Mandibuzz, and he immediately goes to Snorlax. And he gets the Stealth Rock up, which is a good play. And he does Sludge Wave, and it only does 32. And that is a very important thing to note. Life Orb Sludge Wave Stab is only doing 32 to Snorlax, and that is going to show you just how bulky Snorlax is and how difficult it's going to be to defeat that. So he only does 32, and now the Snorlax show is going to begin. Snorlax uses Curse, and it's going to be a game of how do you actually defeat that Snorlax. So first of all, Joris uses Knockoff, removes the leftovers, which is always valuable. So far so good. And then he's going to use Scald here, and he's going to do 15, but he gets the burn, which is really important, because now Snorlax has to rest. It has to rest right now. So he switches into Celebi, Snorlax uses Rest right now, and then the Snorlax is forced out as Celebi uses Nasty Plot. And this was beautiful. This was well done, because if you think about it, Snorlax is a threat that could 6-0 the game, and Joris was able to force it back out. And this is good progress, because guess what? Snorlax lost its leftovers. It has 2 turns of sleep time remaining, which means that it's going to have to sleep talk, which is not very reliable. And next time it comes in, it's going to take Stealth Rock damage. So overall, really well done, and he cannot afford to make a mistake. I've said this many times, but Joris' margin for error is very low, because that Snorlax can sweep if you make even one wrong move. So he played it perfectly to force that Snorlax out, and now next time Snorlax comes in, it's going to be less effective. And it's still going to be a very big threat, but just being able to keep it at bay is going to be really huge. So Celebi uses Nasty Plot, and Metagross comes in, he uses another Nasty Plot, and now Metagross uses Stealth Rock. And he Giga Drains here for a large amount of damage, and then he dodges Meteor Mash, and this sequence was huge. And it's important to note that Celebi beats Metagross 1v1, but still, getting that crit and dodging the attack was huge. But either way, Celebi would have won 1v1. And one thing that's important to note is that even if he didn't get the crit, that Giga Drain is going to be doing a lot of damage, and guess what? That's going to be putting Metagross into range of Aerodactyl's Earthquake. So a very thoughtful, long-term plan game right now. He's not just trying to 1v1, he's trying to 1v1 because Aerodactyl can win later in the game. So that crit really helped. So now Metagross is just going to die to Giga Drain, and Expulso goes to Mandibuzz to force out Celebi because Celebi cannot touch Mandibuzz. So he goes to Nidoqueen, Mandibuzz U-turns as expected, and now he goes to Roserade, and Roserade is in another dominating position, because Roserade has the combination of Sleep Powder, Spikes, Leaf Storm. It's a lot of offensive power, and it's going to be difficult to actually deal with. So he goes to Empoleon on the Leaf Storm, and Empoleon is specially bulky, so it takes that hit, and now Joris is simply going to knock off the item on Roserade, and so far very neutral, not much progress, because Empoleon has Defog. So it's going to be able to defog, and now Snorlax comes in, and it's round 2 of the Snorlax show. And how does he deal with Snorlax? Because as I said earlier, nothing really deals with Snorlax. Say he goes Celebi and he wants to do that whole sequence again. Now Mandibuzz is a free switch in right now, so it's a very interesting situation. How is he going to play against that Snorlax? And let's see what he does. And he makes the interesting decision to go Suicune. And Snorlax is resting. It uses Sleep Talk. It gets the return off. And now Joris is going to just simply Calm Mind up here. And again, Snorlax is going to Sleep Talk. And it pulls Rest, which is unfortunate, but expected when you're rolling the dice with that. And we now see why he went Snorlax here. And he made the calculation. He made the calculation that I know that Suicune loses 1v1 to Snorlax in a vacuum. But this isn't a vacuum. Snorlax has lost leftovers, it lost its leftovers, and I had a 1-turn advantage because Snorlax was sleeping. So he's made that calculation that because of that 1-turn advantage, and because of the lack of leftovers, Suicune goes from losing to Snorlax to actually beating Snorlax. So a very in-depth calculation he made. And now we see Suicune doing 25%, and Snorlax does 30, but Suicune actually wins the 1v1 here, and he forces the Snorlax out. And again, that's 2 times in a row. Snorlax has come in with a dominating position, but Joris has played perfectly to actually force the Snorlax back out. The best Pokemon in this entire matchup is getting pushed out because Joris is playing so well. And now Roserade comes in, and Roserade actually probably loses to Suicune, but Joris plays it safe. He sacrifices Empoleon, and now we have Aerodactyl come in, and he did the groundwork. Joris removed the Metagross, he got the Snorlax chipped, and now he's reaping what he sowed earlier in the game. Aerodactyl is going to be in a very good position, and he's achieved his goal of disarming Snorlax and getting Aerodactyl to win. And now it's a very tough position. He goes Mandibuzz here, and Mandibuzz dies. So probably what Expulsor was going for, he was probably trying to dodge Stone Edge, and then PP stall with Roost. That was probably his plan right there. But unfortunately, he doesn't dodge the Stone Edge, and he goes to Aerodactyl here. And the one thing to note about Generation 6 is that when you Mega Evolve, you don't get the speed until the next turn. So right now, Aerodactyl is guaranteed going to be slower than Aerodactyl Mega because of how the mechanics work of Gen 6. And this is not a coincidence. And I didn't mention this earlier, but if you notice, this is a very deliberate plan. Joris did not give an opportunity for Aerodactyl to Mega Evolve the entire game, because he knew that when you reach the end game, this interaction of Mega versus non-Mega would really come in handy, and now he doesn't have to risk a speed tie. So this was very deliberate, and it looks like, oh, it's just a coincidence that it's Mega versus non-Mega. No, it's not a coincidence. This was planned by Joris. So really well done, and now it's a bit risky. He has to dodge Stone Edge, but unfortunately for him, he doesn't dodge it. And now he goes Snorlax, and this is again a very tricky situation because you have to understand the risk and reward. Snorlax is still going to be a threatening sweeper, but you have to play it well. So say for example, Joris uses Stone Edge, but he misses the Stone Edge. Then Snorlax is going to potentially win the game. So he has to be really careful about how he handles the Snorlax and how does he do it without risking anything. He doesn't want to risk a Stone Edge miss, for example. So if you want, you can pause the video and try and find the best way to win the endgame without taking too much risk. So Joris makes the right play and he goes to Celebi and he's going to start Nasty Plotting. And this is the best way to win the game, and because of Nasty Plot, Giga Drain actually healing back your health. So he's able to get Nasty Plot up. He goes once, he goes again, and Snorlax comes in for a return, not going to do much, and now the game is over. He made the right play of switching to Celebi, and now Celebi is going to win. Again, Snorlax using Curse is just not going to be good enough versus that Celebi. Psychic crits, but it didn't really matter, and now the game is over because Heracross cannot beat the combination of Aerodactyl, Celebi, and Florges. So a really well done game to illustrate how you actually beat an opponent who has a superior matchup, because Snorlax could win that game at any time. So make sure, if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you want to join the Joris fan club, make sure to subscribe as well. But yeah, thank you.